Hello and welcome to Authority Marketing Live. I'm Melanie Hirschhorn. I am so excited to be here, not only because I'm starting to feel human again while dealing with COVID, but also because today we have a really wonderful guest who is joining us all the way from my favorite country in the whole wide world, Italy. And I'm so excited because Jillian Bright is an author and so much more. And we're going to be talking about her book today called The Trouble with Wings. Because she is all the way in Europe and the internet is not always reliable. If Jillian cuts out at all, we'll be totally okay with that. And we're just going to enjoy all the time with her that we do have. So I want to welcome Jillian to Authority Marketing Live. Good evening, I suppose, would be the appropriate thing to say.
It is. Buonasera.
So let's dive right in and talk about your book. So you've written a memoir, but clearly you're really young to have written a memoir. So why don't you kind of give us a bit of the background about how memoir was your choice of I guess genre to write?
Yeah, it's a travel memoir. So I spent a lot of time living in Costa Rica in my 20s. I started a custom swimwear company down there. I traveled the world a lot by myself. I worked in the cannabis industry in Northern California for a few years before it went legal. And I had a lot of adventures before I turned 35, and I wrote about all my adventures. And at the very end of a year-long trip around the world by myself, I got robbed. And they stole several years worth of work, photography, all kinds of stuff, including the first manuscript for this book. And about 3 weeks after I got robbed, I found out I was pregnant. So it was a really big shift in life to go from travel writer to mom. And so fast forward a couple years, go through a lot of transitions, postpartum issues. And I was talking to a publisher one day, just having a chat. And she's like, I am impressed with your story. She's like, have you considered rewriting it? And I was like, yeah, it would definitely be different, but I suppose that might be a good idea to rewrite it. She goes, tell you what, if you feel good about having like a 7-month timeline, it's a little bit tight. She's like, but I think this is in 2020. She's like, I think people are ready to hear stories about like hope and getting back up and having the courage to like follow your own path. And I said, okay, let's try it. And so we did it. I rewrote the entire book on, a slightly different storyline, but I rewrote it in about 2 months and we got it to market in 7 months. And it was intense, but here it is. It's the story. We did it. And so yes, I'm young, but it's a very unique journey and I wanted to share it. So that's how it happened.
That's beautiful. All right. So if you guys want to get a sneak peek, you can go to this link right here. It's jillianbright.com/book/wings, and you can get a sneak peek at the memoir. So let's talk a bit more. I mean, you just took me through ups and downs in like 30 seconds. I'm like, whoa, and okay. So I wanna go back to the robbery because I had something similar. No, not similar, but not entirely different happened to me on a much smaller scale. When I was in college, my final essays were all written on my laptop and my laptop was stolen. And I had sent them in over email. This was back in 2002. I sent them in over email, but one professor just didn't like, he was just like, no, I don't have all of it. And he didn't give me a very good grade, even though I'd written everything. So I know the feeling of utter, you're violated. How could this have happened? What could I have done differently? And then it's the, how am I ever going to get it back? And I want to stop and just like celebrate you for taking all that. And then I'm going to bet that it's even better
I
than
hope
what,
so.
like, because when your computer crashes and you lose everything, and then you have to sit there and redo it, and it's the truth is it's all still in your brain, and it almost comes
Yeah.
out better because you've had extra time to think about it and for it to gel. So what
Yeah.
was the when that happened, how did you see your way through it? Because not only did you
Hmm.
experience that violation, but then all of a sudden, whatever plan you had, now it's like, and I'm going to be a mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I actually, right after the robbery, I was like, this is okay. I can push through. All those stories are still in my head. I'm going to get back on the wagon and keep writing. And I had everything pulled together. I was going to publish on my new travel blog. And that's the day I took the pregnancy test and found out I was pregnant. And so it was like pushing through got me to a certain point, but then finding out I was pregnant just wiped all that off. I looked at my old blog posts and I was like, these are missing depth. They sound like crap. I mean, they weren't crap. They were decent blog posts. But then once I had a deeper level of, I guess, crisis hit my life, it was like, okay, this is no longer the story that I want to tell. The story that I'm going to tell is about more than just traveling and, having a good time and discovering yourself. No, this is about self-discovery, and then it's about grief and then rediscovery. And so it was a big process of kind of using the story that I had written in the first place to find myself, using that same path to find myself again after becoming a mom. And I think that we do that all throughout our lives. It's like self-discovery is not a one and done thing. It's not like, oh yeah, I discovered myself when I'm 20, I'm good to go. No, no, no. Every time we have some big change in life, we're going to go through it again. We have to rediscover ourselves. We have to integrate. It's a process. So,
Absolutely. And
yeah.
so sorry, we have a kitten and I think something just crashed, which was my face. So I love what you said, that all of a sudden, the depth, because becoming a parent, it changes your perspective on
Mhm.
everything. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's like everything that you thought you knew before, maybe you didn't actually, you, you didn't actually, like, you thought you could
Yeah.
pull the punches, but you really couldn't until,
Yeah. Yeah.
so how so you were writing while you were pregnant,
I
and
was writing while I was pregnant. Yes.
okay, and did you have baby brain? Did
Oh
that
my gosh. Yeah. Yeah, it was so bad. I was dealing with like grief that I didn't recognize was grief from all that loss and like the identity loss. And so there was this stuff that was going on that I didn't recognize and the baby brain. And so I just was like, I just can't do this. I can't do it. And that was like my thought process for a lot of the rewriting was I just can't do this. And not the most helpful mindset, I can't. However, it did help me to get to the point where I could.
right?
It was too much to get through at that point in my life, and that's okay.
Exactly. We have to give ourselves grace. Now, let me ask you:
Yes,
does your book get very like flippantly compared to Eat, Pray, Love?
it has gotten compared to Eat, Pray, Love. Yeah,
But to
it
me, those
has.
are two completely different stories. I mean,
Hmm.
hers was a journey that she opted to go on, and I would venture to say that yours. I don't want to say it happened to you, but it certainly wasn't a planned excursion of three different
Right.
countries.
And that's actually one of the bigger themes in my book. In the very beginning of the book, it's like it starts out with me finding out I'm pregnant right after the robbery, but then the timeline goes back 10 years to how I landed in Costa Rica for the first time, and it was chance. absolute chance. And one of the people that I met when I was first traveling goes, "Oh, have fun with your plan, because when you're traveling, nothing changes faster than a plan." And so that became almost a motto of mine for almost 10 years over the course of the book. Just like, embrace the unexpected. Like, don't necessarily plan things out, because some of the best things in life, you can't possibly plan them. And
Preach,
that is just,
sister. Preach.
yes, yes. That is the beauty of just like trusting yourself. And that's why I call the book The Trouble with Wings, because you trust yourself and you fly, and the fall is inevitable. You will not continue to fly. We are human beings. We are not meant to be like sustained in the air and like flying on these blissful feelings. Like, eventually there will be a crash, and it's how you pick yourself up and learn to walk again and use your legs and use your heart and get back and engaged in life. Because when you just have the wings, that's never going to be enough. You've got to learn to feel and to walk and to do in a different way.
This is wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing about your book. I have a question now, because we talk about marketing. This is what I do. I live and breathe it. What kind of marketing have you done for your book to help share your mission and your message?
So I've done a lot of podcasts. Then that has been, I think, the most fun way I've done marketing. My book actually launched right after COVID. It came out last year.
Oh, that's funny
And
that you said right after COVID, because where I sit,
yes,
COVID ain't over.
it is true. I guess I'm thinking like post lockdown, post
Lockdown.
intense COVID, phase
Right. Yes.
one.
Because I currently have COVID, so
This
it
is
ain't
true.
over.
It ain't over. It's not over. So I had to get really creative in my marketing. I couldn't do any book tours. Also, because I live in Italy, but the book isn't published in Italian, it's published in English. The vast majority of my readers are North American readers. So I had to tap into my network. Because of 10 years of travel, I have people all over the world. And so I was able to like link up with my friends and do lives with my friends and just use the existing network that I have and get really creative about who I'm going to talk to, how I'm going to talk about it, and how I'm going to get this book in people's hands when people want to read, but we're not allowed to like go out and do a whole lot of stuff. And so, yeah, just really getting into my existing network and be like, okay, what can I do with what I have?
I love that. And I want to point out now that here you are on this show. I know, so meta, but you're here continuing to promote it. And that is a beautiful thing, because so often authors say, "Oh, 3 months. It's been 3 months since my book published, and now I'm going to throw it on the shelf and never talk about it again."
Yes, I read something probably like a month or so before my launch that was like, you are publishing a book. This is not a blog. Yes, the internet has a very short-term memory, but you need to continue to market this book until you publish your next book, and then you can market them both.
Yes.
And so it's like, yes, this is a book. This is an actual thing that I can continue to market forever. It's not going to become irrelevant. These are themes that people are going to deal with until the end of humanity, maybe in a different way, but it doesn't stop the marketing. Like, you keep going, you keep talking about it, and you don't like, it's not a blog. It's not a social media post. It doesn't just disappear. You get to keep talking about it and keep referencing it. It's still in the bookstores. So
exactly. It's not a Snapchat that disappears.
yes,
I love that. And I always say your book does not fall off a cliff after 3 months. There is no shelf life to it. So
yeah, exactly.
I love that you are out there promoting. Everybody, you can go ahead and take a look and get this story is just beautiful. And I know it ends well because you have a smiling face looking at me right now, but we don't know how it ends. So we need to read the book.
No? Yes.
And is it available on Amazon? And you said it's in
It
bookstores?
is. It is. It's available pretty much anywhere you can buy a book. If there's on that link right there, there are all of the different online options to buy it.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. Well, Jillian, thank you so much for joining today from all the way from evening time in the most wonderful country on the planet.
Well, thank you for having me, Melanie. I appreciate you showing up even though you're not feeling so hot. So, and my sketchy internet.
Your internet,
Really fun.
let's just say your internet was amazing this whole time. So thank you, Italian
Good.
Internet, for holding out
Yay.
for this interview. Appreciate it.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you so, so much. And everyone, thanks so much for joining us today. It is always such a pleasure to be able to bring you the voices of authors and to talk about the importance of marketing your book, because my mission is to help you share your mission with the world. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.